What's going on, guys? Fearmaky here, bringing you another video. Let's get into it. Let's roll deep and keep grinding out there, guys. Let's dive into the video. Let's go. All right, guys, I know everybody's been anxious. I've been anxious myself since I put out the showcase video. I have a lot of data, a lot of tested information that I'll give you at the end of the video. But for now, I want to dive straight into the build, just straight facts, and then I'll give you all my reasoning and thoughts and, theory of crafting, all of that. What, as why should you use this? Why don't you use that, etc. I'll get all into all of that at the end of the video. And then I definitely look forward to your comments, and I hope somebody breaks it and figures out something even better. But I first set out to play the game. I looked at Lepic. I love explosives. I love skill builds, and I'm like, I have to play this class. There's so many of them I want to play, SCMO and Blair, but I have to do Lepic. And I only played the game in beta last year, but only for like 6 hours, so I did not play beta. But I had this, thought process to go into the game and do a massive explosive, ultimate, low cooldown, skill crit damage build. And it feels really good once you set out to do something, you farm for it, and you theory your craft and you put it together, even though sometimes the math doesn't make sense. But it still works in the end through trial and error, and just a lot of, put this item on, take it off, hit the dummy and test it, and go out there in the real world, right, in the boss fights, intercept battles, and try it out and see how it feels. So anyways, this is the build right here. So starting with the guns, I'm using Thunder Cage as my primary weapon, Tamer as my secondary, and the Age of Innovation, just because of the impact rounds. I'll open up the modules for the weapons because we're doing a skill build, so I'm not going to get into all the modules for weapons. There's plenty of videos out there that can show you how to scale weapon damage, etc. When they're going for straight up gun damage. But this is the modules. These are the modules I'm using currently for my Thunder Cage. It's not maxed out because I spent all of my catalyst on my Descendant, so I can scale my skill damage up, and I highly recommend you guys do the same if you're planning to go skill build. These are the modules for the Tamer. Again, it's the most I can get with my capacity. Again, I'm focused on skill build, so I have not spent any catalyst on the weapons yet. And here's the modules for the scout rifle. And mainly so in case I run out of general rounds, I have impact rounds that I can spend while my cooldowns and mana comes back up. Okay. For the reactor, I'm using the Burnick Mechanics reactor with the Thunder Cage mountain condition, and it has fire skill power and tech skill power. You want to have fire skill power and tech because both your abilities, your grenades and your ultimate scales with fire skill power and tech skill power. So that is a must. For the tertiary stats that rolled at the bottom, I rolled skill duration up. You definitely want that. And this one rolled additional skill attack when attacking Legion of Darkness. It would have been great if it had rolled skill critical damage, or even additional skill attack when attacking Colossus. So if you guys can find one of those, you'll have better luck, than me. That would do slightly more damage, absolutely, with the skill critical. But you definitely want skill duration up, and I'll explain that in a little bit. For the component set, we're going with the Slayer set. On the auxiliary power, you 100% want don't even worry about any of the other stats. They're just bonuses. It comes with default defense. The fire resist to me is whatever. I've done every content in the game, I think up to Frostwalker, but that takes a really coordinated group. We wipe at like when the boss is like 30% health or less because we burst them down so hard. But if you don't do the mechanics, you're gonna die. So we just haven't had the opportunity yet with our full group here on Discord ready to do it, because everybody's getting geared and leveling their tunes, and when we try to do it, some of the guys will be level 20. But anyways, we'll clear that here shortly. But the number one item stat you want on the auxiliary power is MP recovery out of combat. I'll explain to you later why that is important, but you definitely want that, or else you're gonna find yourself like, what is going on here? For the sensor, you want max MP. Mine rolled kind of low. If yours can roll legendary, I think it can roll up to 156. That is the ideal roll. All the other secondary stats doesn't really matter. Obviously if it rolls health or mana recovery, I don't even think this one can roll health on it, I'm not sure, but any of that would be a bonus. But definitely have max MP, or else the build won't function as efficiently as mine does. For the memory, nothing special here. It's just literally just for the set bonus. Max shield, defense. If you can, keep defense on it, anything that will give you survivability in these slots would be good. So look for that. For the processor, max HP, max shield's really good. If you can get max health or anything that can increase your survivability and resistances, definitely good. But the reason why we're using the set piece is because of the skill cost, skill power increased by 26%. Yes, there is a drawback of 15% skill cost increase on mana, but we offset that cost with the Enlightenment module, which gives us 15% max mana MP, and also the MP accelerant, which gives us another 3.7%. I'll show you that once we get into the module loadouts, okay? And that 26% is significant. So that's the reactor components, and you got the weapons. Here's the module loadout. Module loadout, I'm going with Battle of Stamina. Maximum HP 122%, skill duration 8.8%. This is massive for survivability and doing fights, especially in groups. You don't want to be getting one shot and dead all the time. But the reason why I chose not only for the health, but mainly, if you ask me, is for the skill duration. Skill duration for what we're doing is king. I'll explain to you that in a bit. Frontline, skill critical hit damage, skill critical hit rate. Mandatory if you're trying to do a lot of damage with skills. Enlightenment. So this, if you're soloing, you definitely want to have this to offset the mana reduction in costs from the Slayer set, and also from the skill concentration. I'm sorry, not skill concentration. From the MP conversion module, which reduces it by 15%. All right. You want Spear and Shield, skill power multiplier here 8.1%, and defense 89.8%. You want skill extension for the 36% skill duration. This is what's going to allow you to get 11 to 12 fire orbs out on your ultimate, and hopefully they crit and it just hits like a truck. The longer you can stay in your ultimate and you have mana to cast, the better. The highest I've gotten it to is 12. And if you guys can find a better build or do something different, let me know. For my mobility module, I use mid-air maneuvering. This is amazing to me to get out of tough situations, traverse the map, and just to get around the boss. I can just grab mid-air and get around behind them and swing. I really love this mobility module. I have tried the other ones, but I'm not really a fan. But this is what I use, but you can use any module you want here for mobility. You just want to max it out to give you the 10 extra module capacity. Okay. Skill concentration. You want this for skill critical hit damage. This is massive, which is why I have 207% critical hit skill critical hit damage. You want the MP conversion. Yes, there is a negative 15% mana on there, but you want it for the cooldown reduction. This is massive in order for you to get your mana back and push bosses. Focus on fire. You want this your ultimate scales with fire skill power. I've tried it with just raw skill power, and for some reason the ultimate doesn't work, or it's not scaling with flat skill power. The moment I remove the fire skill power, the ultimate ability does not work with it. And it says burst damage, skill power, multiplier, continuous damage, skill power. But you know, you guys can watch the Math Guy's YouTube channel. He's doing amazing content. I'll get his name here in a bit and put it on the video. But yeah, it doesn't work for me. So anyways, I use focus on fire, because when you put that on, the orb definitely hits like a truck. I also use emergency measures for the skill critical hit rate and skill critical hit damage. That's a must. And I use MP accelerant again for the skill duration, and it gives a nice boost to MP, 3.7% mana. So to summarize the build, I have 77.2% fire skill power, 42.6% skill cooldown, 3.9% max mana, 65.8% skill duration, 89.8% defense, 8.1% skill power, 207.7% skill critical hit damage, 92.3% skill critical hit rate, and 122.3% max hit points for survivability. So what that does to our skills, it puts our grenade throw at a 3.4 second cooldown, our overclock at 11.5 second cooldown with a duration of 35 seconds, traction grenade with a 14.4% cooldown. We don't really use this for bossing. And our main damaging skill, overkill, puts it at a 45.9 second cooldown. But the biggest part of this build is the duration. It goes from 8 seconds to 14 seconds. That is the highest I've been able to get it to. I don't know if that's the cap or just maybe the limitation on my stat budgets that I have on me. But that's the highest I can get it to. And what that allows us to do is to cast 12 overkill shots if timed correctly. 100% you'll get 11 of them. If you put yourself in combat as you fire your weapon, then you won't get the extra tick of regen, therefore losing the 12th shot. If you pay very close attention to my 12-second kill video, I was also scratching my head as well, because I have 2 of them, why I was able to do that in 12 seconds and I can't replicate it. I got 13 and 14 and 15, and then looking deeper at the video, I'm like, wait a second, I got 12 shots there. And to be honest, I even think the first shot went through the boss because it didn't really had spawned in yet. So you can technically still kill him in 11 shots, you know, hoping that your skill will crit with every shot or every other shot. You can definitely kill it faster. But I realized that with that little tech, you pop your ultimate, wait for your mana tick regen quickly, and then you fire your shot before you put yourself in combat. That's how you get the extra shot. That's min-maxing and trying to speed kill on solo. It's not really realistic in the boss fight with other players. And I have a different build for that. That we don't have to be so specific on trying to speed kill. This is just for soloing and trying to kill the boss as quickly as possible. You control your environment, you control what's going on, so this works. For playing with, you know, with friends, I highly recommend my main build here, where I remove the enlightenment for max mana, and I put on nimble fingers for 25% skill cooldown reduction. And what that does to your ultimate, it brings it from a 46 seconds technically almost, down to a 25-second cooldown. Now this is massive in party play, because you really just do your rotation, fire like 30-40 bullets, and then get out of combat, which is where the reactor comes in. I'm sorry, where the auxiliary power comes in with MP recovery out of combat. This literally doubles your recovery, how fast you recover mana, because you want to recover very fast and get right back into the action. You don't want to be sitting out there for 30 seconds waiting to regen mana. And this right here changes that gameplay completely. So with a 25-second cooldown, you literally fire 30 to 50 bullets, run out so you can drop yourself out of combat. By the time your cooldown is back up, your mana will be full, and you rinse and repeat the cycle again and go right back into DPS. With this, you drastically cut the fights in half, and it's extremely fun playing this in multiplayer and with friends. And I'll do another video later so I don't extend this video too long, so you can see how we play, how it works in multiplayer groups. But if you love spamming your ultimates, I can see this working for pretty much any class that wants to go skill builds, which is why I'm excited to test out the other classes. But again, the biggest thing here with the ultimate is the skill duration. If your skill duration is not 14, and your mana pool is not at 401, you're not going to get 11 shots. You're going to get like 9 shots. Okay, so be very mindful of that when you guys are playing and when you're testing out the build. But this is the build here that I use for soloing bosses. I'm trying to speed kill bosses. I just literally replace nimble fingers for enlightenment, and then for party play I put a nimble fingers. I did try the other bosses, and I think I'm going to stick with this build for the lower cooldown so I can burst them down. Then the bosses become immune, and there's really nothing you can do except for breaking them out of immunity. And during that, and some of them have intermission phases where they pull you into the center, and as you're falling, you get out of combat and you regen the mana. So this build actually works better, because by the time he pulls me in, I jump, I grapple hook out, I get out of combat, I get full mana. And then as soon as I break him out of his immunity, my ultimate's ready, my mana's full, and I just burst him down again. This build is more consistent, it's more steady, it's more active. This build here would be, if you're trying to speed kill Devourer and trying to do that and get the extra shot in, with the extra mana. But your cooldowns is going to be significantly reduced. You're going to lose 20 seconds, right? But it may work, and as I kill other bosses, I'll release the videos and let you guys know. But that's the gist of the build. Now let me go over rotation and explain that to you guys. So the very first thing you want to do is pop your just so I don't get this wrong, overclock right away. As soon as you get the overclock buff, then you pop your overkill. All right, and you can roll out to cancel the animation of the unique weapon being armed on your forearm. So you can do that as well, so you don't have to wait as long. I definitely recommend that. That way you get more damage right away, and you want to wait for your mana to be full before you start firing. So this is the rotation here. I'm gonna press my 7, okay, then I'll do overkill, roll, and then shoot, and that's it. 3 right, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, almost got the 11th shot in there. I was probably late explaining to you guys, but you get the gist of it. And if you go back in the video, you can see I got 12 shots. But that is literally it. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, enjoyed the guide. I did, just to go over quickly so I don't waste too much more time on this video here with you guys, I have tried the other builds. That's why I got the experiment build, to put on skill simplification, and then put on walk a tight rope. You do yield more damage with this. And I also put on I'll do the preset here, the highest crit test only. I'll equip that. So this is definitely more damage as far as like impact goes, but you're only going to get 8 shots. That's all you're going to get. You're going to be missing out on 3 to 4 additional shots if you do the other build. And if you ask me, in my opinion, getting 3 to 4 additional shots at 3 million plus, or in the case when we're actually doing the fight, it's what, 1.8 million. I think it's more beneficial than hitting for the 3.5 million. You're hoping that you hit for that, but you're going to be missing out, like I said, 3 to 4 shots, because your mana is going to take a significant hit. As you can see, I'm already at 342. But if I actually do the loadout, I'm sorry, I'm not even 342, 289. But if I actually do the loadout correctly, where I put the enlightenment for the mana, Okay, and then I put on skill extension up there for the duration. The duration is only going to go up to like 11. So you're not going to have as much of a long duration. You're going to cost a lot more mana to cast. So yeah, you're only going to get 8 shot outs. They're going to hit like a truck, hopefully it crits, but you won't get as much damage in the end. It's not consistent. I did that for the thumbnail and for the video to show you guys the true build potential, but I would not recommend using it. And I'm not going to spend my catalyst and my gold and currency to re-roll the slots, you know, to test to see if it's going to be more. I know in the end it's not going to be as good, because your mana is going to take a massive hit, 25% mana reduction. You're going to lose the cooldown reduction because you'll have to put enlightenment in for the mana difference that you're losing, so you're definitely going to lose cooldown reduction when playing with players. And yeah, and yeah, exactly. And you're also going to be losing MP accelerant. So in all, it's like a 13% mana loss, you know, difference. It's not really, what was it? It's not really 25%, but it's more like 13%, but it's still a significant difference. And duration it also reduces, which, you know, prevents you from doing 11 to 12 overkill shots. You're literally down to 7 or 8, independent. If you're in combat, you're probably only going to get 7 shots in. But anyways, that's what I have to say about that, guys. If you guys have something better, something more reliable, please let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please don't forget to comment, like. I really appreciate you guys' support. I really appreciate your comments. I read all of them. You guys keep grinding out there and roll deep. Woo!